I talk a lot about reframing risk, so I want to take a minute to explain exactly what I mean by that. First, it's always important to identify exactly what the risk is. Name it, and it's usually some type of bad outcome, something we don't want to happen. And if there are multiple parts, break each one down and go through this analysis for each aspect of that risk to make sure you're not missing anything. Second, we always want to make sure that we analyze risks in the appropriate context. There seems to be a bias towards analyzing risks in a vacuum, but that's just not where they exist. They exist in the real world in a full context. And when we analyze them in a vacuum, we miss big things that are running in the background, like the risk of a rapidly changing climate. So always make sure that we place risk in the appropriate context. Third, we want to break out real risks from perceived risks. Real risks are those that are supported by things like quantifiable data. Perceived risks sound like somebody told me that, or I think that might happen. Perceived risks can often be managed through education, explaining why a perceived risk actually isn't a risk. For real risks, we should ask ourselves some more questions like, is this risk insurable? Can it be managed through something like best practices that we develop? Or is this just a well informed business risk that we're willing to take for a variety of reasons? Maybe it's an advocacy position we want to take. Why is all this important? Because when I was practicing construction law, I saw firsthand how allegations that are unsupported with respect to risk really stalled the sustainable innovation that we desperately need with respect to sustainable building, operations, management, design, and construction. So I challenge folks to think through this analysis when you're considering if something really is a risk, how to manage it, and how to move forward.